Well, good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folani. My guest this morning, I have quite a number of them today. First of all, in studio here, Smart Oluwole Apejoye, political affairs analyst. Thank you, as always, for coming by.
Thank you for having me, and good morning.
Good morning. Always our pleasure. And then, we're remotely in Abuja. We have, I hope I say it right, Okunabo Inko-Taria. He's a political affairs analyst as well. Good morning to you. Okay, there you go. Good morning. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning. Good morning.
Indeed. And we'll also be joined by Ken Okolobo, a former commissioner in Delta State and political affairs analyst shortly. But, well, starting off on the political scene, as we are inching towards the conventions of the parties, all sorts of news are coming up. PDP, for instance, I don't know, it seems to be in the midst of, like other political parties, sorting out its affairs. On the one hand, we're hearing that some are insisting that it should be zoned one way or the other. And yet we're hearing that, I have the Nation in front of me. The Nation is saying that, Tombowa, for instance, is saying that, you know what, maybe we should just focus on getting the power first, not on zoning. It's an interesting proposition. What do you think, Smart, of that particular admonition or piece of advice?
Well, first, if they want to get power, how would they get power? Somebody must emerge. Where is that person emerging from? First, let me say it, and I've always said it on this forum, that I, Smart Oluwole, I am against zoning. You see, zoning became popular after the 1993 election annulments. And since then, we've tried to bring it into party politics in Nigeria. I have never been an apostle of zoning. I can never support zoning. Zoning is not democratic. I have always been the kind of person that, look, no matter who rules us, either it's coming from the east, it's coming from the north, it's coming from wherever, or southwest, provided that person is ruling us very well. And I'll quickly give a good example. We've had so many people ruled NDLEA before now. But Marwa came in, the same person, the same group, the same staff that NDLEA have been using, they are the ones now doing wonders now. We can see their performance. If we had perhaps say, okay, because the person that left there is an Hausa man, let us bring a Yoruba man. Perhaps he probably will not be doing better. Equally again, we saw his appointment. We saw the appointment again of this young man in EFCC, Bawa Abdul Rashid. We saw how the guy has transformed that place, how he is doing well. So if we are looking at zoning, if we are talking about zoning, you are talking about that because the person that left, if he's from the north, then we must bring somebody from the south. I'm not the proponent of that. Whoever we must bring must be somebody that has the competence. We must be talking about competence. We must be talking about somebody that's a statesman that will look at the Nigerian economy and say, look, and focus on Nigerian economy, and next people that will work with him. Not somebody, not because this person is an awesome. How well Katsina today is being ravaged by banditry. The present president is from Katsina. Now again, Bayelsa. How well did Bayelsa fare for the 6 years that Goodluck Jonathan was their president? How well did Ogun State fare when Obasanjo was their president? That he could not fix from Abeokuta Express Road, that we could not have that road dualized up to up to Abeokuta, that we could not even have the road from Ota dualized up to the boundary of Lagos, the one they call Golo, in the boundary of Benin Republic from the Diroko side. So, you see, all these politicians saying zoning, 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 they are not saying zoning because of the fact that they love Nigerians so well. Mm-hmm. Zoning has never helped anybody as far as I'm concerned. What has helped us so far is competence. I can give a whole list of government appointees that are doing well in their various positions and that are from the north. I can give you some that are doing well that are from the west. I can give you some that are doing well that are from south. We should be focusing. Honestly, whenever they come about, I don't even like. Don't tell me about zoning. Tell me about the competence in this person.
Okay, as you know, part of the reason we've spoken about zoning collectively is the matter of trying to democratize it and make it a bit, make it fairer, so that
No, it's not even fair.
It's not fair.
It's not fair.
Fact, so much so that
if you are zoning again,
Chief Bode George,
it's not in the Nigerian Constitution.
Chief Bode George, for example, is saying, is reported to be saying that, quite frankly, Tambuwal's position that I quoted first is like putting the cart before the horse. He says it's illogical. That's according to Chief Bode George.
Yeah.
But let me find out from Okunabo Inkotaria in Abuja there. Give me your thoughts on this whole matter. The main opposition party, PDP, zoning, they say has to be. On the one hand, they say it should be zoning. PDP should be working towards zoning. Chief Bode George, a chieftain of the party, is saying that that's putting the cart before the horse and that it's an illogical position. How say you on this question?
Okay, first, let me say, I think I listened to Chief Bode George. What he said, he did not criticize zoning. Rather, what he said was that he was criticizing what Tambuwal said.
Exactly.
Because Tambuwal said, let us win the elections before you talk of zoning.
That's right.
And to me, it's decade of reasoning and poverty of logic. Because the issue of zoning is a condition precedent. You have to decide first on where the president will come from before you talk of winning the election. Because if you talk of winning the election before the zoning, already the zoning has taken place. Wherever the president directly. So that was why Chief Bode George disagreed with the position of Tambuwal. Having said this, I listened to my brother in the studio. Zoning, in as much as a lot of people will say it is not democratic, I strongly disagree, because the issue of zoning is to placate, is to ensure that everybody, given our political nuances, is to ensure that everybody have that sense of belonging, so to speak. Now, let us look at the United States of America, which is the natural place of our modern-day democracy. You talk of democracy. Democracy is all about majoritarianism. We all know that. Majority carries the vote. And if we don't zone in Nigeria, for example, the North will forever rule. Then what will happen to other segments? Because they have the numerical strength. Then what will happen to the other segments, the other federating units? Because we will never have them. If you look at the National Assembly, they not have the majority. So what will happen to other segments? Then we will never, no other segment of the society will ever dream, not to talk of bringing black dream to fruition, will ever dream of producing a president. Even in America, you have the college system. Al Gore had majority of the votes. Hillary Clinton had majority of the votes, but they never emerged as presidents of the country because of the college system. Now, why do you have the college system? The college system is meant to address these numerical differences. Otherwise, the smaller states will never have a say in who emerges as the president of the country. And that is why you have the college system. The same thing applies to Nigeria. It's a matter of nomenclature. We might not call it the college system, but the zoning issue will definitely address this issue. Now, if, for example, the PDP zones it to the north, to the south, sorry, that does not necessarily mean that every other northerner will decline. You're definitely going to have northerners that are going to contest, but majority, the party machinery, will work for the emergence of a southern president. If that does not happen, I can tell you that we are definitely going to be headed for anarchy. Because look at what is happening in the dissenting voices. Look at even the Southeast. The Southeast is complaining bitterly. Part of the problem is because the Southeast feels it has been marginalized, discriminated against, segregated against. And that is why they are protesting. They say, no, if you are not going to recognize us, if we are also not going to have enjoy the benefits of what other parts of the country are enjoying, then we're going to secede. We're going to secede. That is the whole essence of, that's the whole vein. That's the problem with the South. So the zoning is extremely important if we have to ensure cohesion, if we have to ensure that we continue to live as one, especially now that the tenuous and fragile ligatures of the encasement is being threatened. It has never been this threatened. So we have to placate Nigerians. We have to placate certain zones for us to remain as well. And that's why you have the zoning. But on the issue of zoning, my own is, if the president emerges from, for example, hypothetically, from the north, let the vice president be from the west. Let the Senate president be from the east, while the speaker will come from the south, so that there will be fairness, equity, there will be balance. Okay. Nobody will feel marginalized. Okay. Not the present situation where you have the northern president, you have the western vice president, you have the northern Senate president, you have the western Senate president. That negates the whole essence of zoning. Okay.
Smart Oluwole.
Quickly, let me react to my brother. You see, in Abuja, first, the Abuela and Tofa contested an election. Tofa lost in his ward to an Abuela that is a Yoruba man from SDP. Now, Tofa is from NRC. This is a true reflection that because Nigerians viewed both of them and saw that Abuela have competence. The competence I saw in Abuela when it came out, I'm here to see it in everybody, and I mean everybody. I will tell you, when Abuela was going to emerge, from the very first day he declared his intention, he came up with a program, Farewell to Poverty. I used to have that book, but maybe because I can't even place my hand. It's a big book. It's a booklet. It touches every aspect. Long ago, Abuela has addressed the issue of petroleum, appropriate pricing for petroleum. Long ago, Abuela has addressed the issue of tertiary education, that tertiary education should not remain free. But however, if they are going to be getting allocation, he has marked how those allocations will be. That if local government could get allocation, that some universities are even bigger than some local governments in population. And what does the United Nations says is that if you are 250,000, you can have a local government. Do we have that? There are so many imbalances that is making us to call for zoning today. But the simple truth is that I am here to be convinced that zoning has helped us, even in the past. Yes, there have been so much.
But how about the point that was made by Punabo that, look, it's to create some sort of a balance, lest smaller states or groupings don't get a say at all?
You see, first, yes. But I think if a smaller state come up with a competent candidate, I will vote for that I will vote for that smaller state than vote for a bigger state that have somebody that is not competent. What we are talking about is, we should be focusing on competence, not from Hausa, not from Igbo, not from Yoruba. And again, there are so many imbalances. Yes, I agree with his submission when he said, look, we have a president that is not, we have a Senate president that is not, we have an House of Rep that is south, that is southwest, that is west. We now have a vice president that is west. It is an imbalance. Honestly, we should be able to balance this. But because of the fact that they know what they are doing, I keep saying that politicians, they are never fighting for the interest. They are never for the interest of the populace. It is only what concerns them, them and their family. That is only when you see them disagreeing. Okay. Today, nobody has talked about the impropriety that is happening in terms of remuneration, salaries of the National Assembly. Whatever, all the parties there, they kept quiet, except for somebody that was able to come out and say, this is what we earn as salary, including allowances every month. No other person had come out again to say it, and they kept quiet. We've not looked at that. There are so many issues that we should be looking at. Okay. Let us look at the issue of, look, if this person is coming out, now it's a long time. First of all, I think Atiku is declaring his intention today. I'll probably want to see a situation whereby he had come out with how he is going to govern this nation, just like Abuela did when he came up with his book, Farewell to Poverty. He touches sports, taking it from the grassroots. It touches every aspect of our life. And you see, and when we were beginning to read that book as if it's a Bible, and we said, look, I think this man, we should give him, and you see, Abuela demonstrated that they didn't just write this book for him, that he was part of it in his interview, that at every point in time, he was able to talk about sports, at every point in time, he was able to talk about primary and secondary that should be made compulsory, tertiary education, how it should be funded. Okay. You see, these are the issues that we should be looking at.
Okay, Opunabo, Smart seems to, from my understanding, he seems to be saying that, look, meritocracy is what he would prefer, as opposed to zoning one way or the other. Although you could also look at it from the point of view that wherever you vote it, wherever you zone it to, you will always find someone of merit. But do you think we can successfully, premise, our electoral aspirations and preparations on meritocracy in Nigeria that we have today?
I, to a very large extent, I agree with my brother in the studio. Meritocracy is what everybody wants, because we have people with distorted perception of life accidentally discharged onto the political surface, and that is why Nigeria is where it is today. I agree with the tenor of his argument, but disagree with the submission of his argument. Why I say I agree is that, let us look at the Abuela's case, which he made reference to. Yes, it was even a Muslim ticket. People were not even bothered that it was a Muslim ticket. Nigerians were not troubled, they were not perturbed at all, because they were looking at the meritocracy my brother is talking about in the studio. Even though the issue of meritocracy can be found in every part, in every zone. But having said that, now, that very reference he made was the very reason for the zoning. Because why did the Obasanjo emerge to start with? Obasanjo emerged to placate the West, that is the Southwest. That was the whole essence, because we were headed for anarchy. So Obasanjo emerged to placate the Southwest, and that was the beginning. Not that the Southwest would have won the election, no. But okay, fine, because we want this unity to continue, let us give it to a fellow Yoruba man, so that the Southwest that is already agreed will be assuaged. That is the whole. That was it. Now the Southwest has taken. If we go to the polls and talk of majority, the North will forever rule till tomorrow. And I asked my brother in the studio, because I strongly believe it's not a Northerner. If from 1999 to date, notwithstanding the fact that the Northerner that will emerge is a square peg in a square hole, will you be happy? Won't you feel segregated? Won't you feel discriminated against? Definitely, you believe that you're no longer part of this country. And that to a very large extent, yes, because once there is bewildering frustration and corroding bitterness, that's the case right now in the East. Of course, what do you expect? Definitely people will protest. And when they start protesting, what will that lead to? Anarchy. The very country you're trying to protect, the very country you talk of meritocracy about, will no longer be in existence.
Okay.
Because there will be an existential threat.
Okay.
We look at the oil, for example, in the South. Now, because we protested, we felt that so much is spirited out of the system with little or nothing to show for it. We are condemned to all kinds of pernicious end with Britain, and our lives are being shortened. We protested. And eventually we got it. Because they believe that if they don't give to us, we will believe we are no longer, because we said we are going to go. The same thing with the East. They believe that in terms of leadership, they've been marginalized. And that is why they are protesting. Okay. Now, they are not even talking of the president. As when this whole thing started, they were not even talking of the president. They were talking of political appointments in terms of the service chiefs and so on. That was what they were clamoring for before they are talking of the issue of the presidency came up now. So you can imagine if they are complaining that when in terms of political appointments and so on, they have been the South does not get the presidency. What will happen?
Okay.
Is done next.
Okay.
Also clamor. Jonathan became the vice president because in order to calm the fairness in the South. That's why they said, okay, go and be the vice president. These whole things have been orchestrated. They are not accidental. They have been orchestrated. But that he became a president, of course, by providence.
Okay.
So the issue of zoning is crucial, extremely. Let me say this, my brother. When legality is a threat to national cohesion, then we must allow legitimacy that will ensure national cohesion to outdistance legality. The issue of majoritarianism is agreed, but will that sustain the unity and peace of this country? No.
All right then.
So what is the whole essence of majoritarianism?
Okay, smart. So these are sort of the complications of the issue. which you might want to acknowledge, or perhaps you have a thinking about it, that because look, there's a sense in which we say in our political development as of the moment, ground is not level, as we say locally, and so some adjustments have to be made in the interest of cohesion that he was saying. Now, you've made a case that, look, it's divisive, yet someone is saying that actually it's cohesive.
Well, let me remain on. You see, there is one thing I studied.
And we're talking about the PDP right now. We're talking about the PDP and their efforts. We look at APC. APC doesn't have that.
I study governance more than I study Bible. The simple truth, and as a Christian, I'm supposed to study Bible more, but I study the governance more than Bible. The simple truth is that, I'll give you a quick example. Ife Jirika was one time chief of army staff in this country. For the few times Ife Jirika stayed as chief of army staff, he was able to curtail the Boko Haram insurgents extremely very well. That is competency. They brought in somebody that is from the north. He could not even do better than Ejirika did. Now, what I am saying is that in the first place, again, I'll give you a good example. Yes, the north could have the numerical strength in terms of whatever, but if a good example again is this President Buhari. I have been following him, even when nobody were following him in the West. I've been following him. I ensure that, look, I think I saw competence in this man. That's number one. And Buhari has been winning the North to a large extent. Now, because of the fact that he need vote again to balance it, the 12 to 3rd or whatever from the West, he went into alliance. And he emerged. Now, if we ask now today, if Buhari today, if we are to have a free and fair election, if you are going to bring a Buhari and going to bring somebody else, it might not go the way it has been going, because so many people are so disenchanted. Now, we are looking for somebody that will come and create a balance. Somebody that will come and reverse the trend that, look, Nigeria, we can be better. As at today, no matter what CBN governor says or whatever, as at today, dollar, if you're going to get dollar, you're going to get dollar for over 580 to a dollar. We need somebody that will come and address it. How do we address it? Simple arithmetic that, look, your demand cannot be more than the supply, and you think you will do better. So how do we ensure that we show up our this thing? We have so many ways. Now, how well are the farmers doing? I am into farming. Today I'm crying that, but I don't want to quit. My wife keeps encouraging me that you cannot quit. But the simple truth is that all variables shows that I should quit because of the fact that ordinarily to get feeds, we in the animal husbandry system, farming, we are crying. So we are suffering. You're
talking here about competency again.
Yes.
Competency to fix the issues concerning the people.
Concerning the people. And if we're talking about the people, you see, it must cover everything. Recently, I was away for about 3 weeks. Sometimes I was coming back into the country, sincerely speaking, right inside me, I was crying that for goodness sake, I am living a country that only rely on services and they are doing well, compared to a country where we have abundance of human resources and even material resources, even mineral resources, and yet we are crying.
But we've always said that governance has been a main issue. Well, Opunabo Inkotaria, we'll take a break now, and when we come back from that break, I'll come straight back to you so that we can continue this conversation. Okay, welcome back, and we have a smart Oluwale Akpejoye, because we were doing this exercise in Yoruba, and you could say Akpejoye in about 3 or 4 different ways, and they will each mean something different. So I just said it the right way. Smart Oluwale Akpejoye, political affairs analyst. And we have in Abuja Opunabo Inko Taria, and we're still hoping to have Ken Okolubo to join us as well. Okay, Ken Okolubo, former commissioner in Delta, political affairs analyst, and in fact, if as I hear it, also, you know, an aspirant in the upcoming election. Good morning to you, Mr. Ken Okolubo. Okay, while we're waiting for the, you know, all the gizmos to sort of synchronize and work, let me come back to you, Opunabo Inko Taria. We're talking right now, all that we've been saying is in relation to the PDP and their efforts to put their house in order. We've centered the conversation really around this whole matter of what? Consensus candidates, or do you go to convention? And you've made some points. This is about the PDP. How about in the APC? Because we're looking at politics in Nigeria. One party might say this is our system, and the other is that this is our system. APC, for instance, doesn't have this particular issue, if I'm not mistaken. How do you see it? They will go to a convention, and they will, you know, well, is it the convention is on the 26th?
I think so.
Yeah, on the 26th.
March 26th,
yes.
Sometime next week.
So how do you see it, Opunabo?
Sorry, but can you hear me clearly? Because
we can hear you.
It's actually breaking, but can you hear me?
We can hear you very clearly.
Okay, better now. Yeah. Yeah, so what the question was, how do I see the emergence of a presidential candidate on the platform of the APC?
Yeah, because they don't seem to have this issue. Or do you think there's little difference going on between the two parties in organizing themselves to come up with the
definitely. There is no difference, because even in the APC, you have contending and contesting parties. You have the people that are saying it must come from some of them are saying it should come from the north, and well, majority are saying it should come from the south or the east. But there's preponderance of opinion that it should come from the east, because they've never produced the president from 1999. That's the preponderance of opinion. Having said that, the APC, I just pray that the convention will hold on the 26th, and again, there won't be any problems arising from the convention, that it will hold successfully, because it is one party that is immersed in all forms of crisis. The president's intervention came a little bit late, and the party definitely was almost being consumed in the very smoke it fell from. Now, they are talking of a consensus candidate for the national chairmanship. On the issue of the presidency, I'm not seized of any of such accommodation by members of the party that they are going to zone it to the east or to the south. I'm not aware. Let me not pontificate on issues. So I cannot say authoritatively for now that the APC has staved up the crisis of the presidential candidate. In other words, where the presidential candidate will come from. I cannot authoritatively say that, because it has been beleaguered. The APC has been troubled and mentioned all kinds of problems, both problems it invoked and problems that were cast on it. So I don't know. I cannot speak right now. Okay. If the APC will face the same challenges the PDP is facing in terms of where its presidential candidate will come from. Because right now it is faced with the chairmanship. However, the chairmanship, the zone that will produce the chairmanship, to a very large extent, will determine where the presidency will be zoned to. Because if the chairman is zoned to the north, of course, the presidency will most likely be zoned to the south or the east. But the major problem will be between the south and the east, yes. Because you have the east clamoring, they are saying no, this is their town. Because they say the south has in the person of President Goodluck Jonathan. So it is a turn of the east. So that is that would be a very sound and fair judged argument. I must tell you that, even down from the south, from River State. But it's a sound and quite logical argument. But then again, like my brother in the studio said, they let the best emerge, but they also have the best. So they will reach accommodation on where the presidency will be zoned to. I don't know if they have that issue right now. I don't know if there's a contentious issue as I speak today.
Okay, all right. Smart, you got any thoughts on the issue? Is it as contentious?
Well, I think in APC, the issue of zoning is like it has been sorted out. They have zoned it to the south, and if it has been zoned to the south, it's now between southwest or south-south. But as far as the constitution, as far as they are concerned, they have zoned it to the south. So now and today, as far as I'm concerned, we only have the Southwest that are more in contentious. The other guy from Ebonyi State that has signified his interest, well, is one leg in, one leg out, because today his stand in APC is not even so to say, except for the fact that there is a stay of execution. As far as it's concerned, he has defected, so he must lose his position. And if he must lose his position, then he will probably would not have such privilege to even emerge. Having said that, so clearly today, as it is today, it is only either between Bola Tinubu that has declared his intention, or someone around Oshibajo that some of his aides are promoting.
But
having said that, Rochas Okorocha,
Oshibajo has not said one word.
That's what I'm saying. That's
towards
what I'm saying.
declaring. Not one word.
That's why I've said his aides are promoting. Now, Rochas Okorocha.
Sorry, sir. There are therefore some who are saying that Oshibajo is not running because he would have said so, or would have stopped all the agitations. Well,
his body language is showing that, look, yeah, you be going ahead, I'm coming behind. So, just like Yoruba will say, so anyway, Okorocha has not come up with anything. So, and since after he declared, I'm not hearing from him. What is this guy? Ojo Zokalu. Honestly, if I am him, I would face the case I have with the 7-point-something billion case and face it and leave the issue of presidency alone. So clearly, it shows that it is only somebody that has and is working assiduously to at least shows that he is really serious, and that's Bola Tinubu. Having said that, today we are expecting Atiku, Tambuwa, whatever. We don't. They are also. They are. If they are talking today that look, zoning should not be whatever. They are part of the zoning system. Atiku and Tambuwa, they are part of the zoning system. So if today they are saying they don't support zoning, that is just to show you the selfishness of politicians.
Okay, let me hear from Ken Okolobo, who has joined us. Good morning, Ken. Thank you for being able to join us. And okay, there you are. So good morning to you, Ken. Former commissioner in Delta State, political affairs analyst. But
yes, good morning,
good morning to you, sir. You are also you are a PDP politician.
Very much.
Yeah, thank you. You are a PDP politician. In fact, you even have aspirations. Somebody was just telling me that actually you've just paid for your form. Now, before you came on, that is for your form to go to the House of Reps, I believe, but you correct me if there's any mistake in there. We were talking about the whole issue of how to arrive at a candidate in the PDP. Maybe you heard part of the conversation. So would you like to weigh in? On the one hand, just taking, for example, Tambuwa has said that people should be working towards winning the election, not zoning. Bode George has said that's putting the cart before the horse, and so he dissociates himself from that impression. What do you say about the PDP efforts at coming up with a candidate? We also will go on to the case with the situation in APC. But first of all, as a PDP man yourself, what will be your thoughts?
Oh yes, looking at it from the different perspective, the PDP has their presidential candidate thrown open, but eventually they have a 37-member committee has been set up, and that 37-member committee has been tasked with given the task to decide which zone preferably should produce the presidential candidate. And the southern governors, which are really 5 governors of the South in the PDP and 1 in the Southwest, and 2 in the Southeast, have joined their colleagues in the APC to say that the presidency should be zoned to the South. If you look at it, President Buhari is from the Northwest, he's from Katsina State. And you wouldn't say because President Buhari is not of the PDP, you will not count the 8 years he would have spent by May 2023 as the president of this country. And so I would look at it from this objective point of view. The chairman of the PDP is already North Central. And so it is expected that the presidency should come from the southern part of Nigeria. I listened to you saying that PDP is in crisis.
Well, I didn't say that. I beg your pardon. I didn't say that, not this morning, not any time, in fact.
Okay, you made it sound like as if there was confusion.
No,
maybe I did not hear you well.
Okay, yeah, because two key people are saying that opposite things, and they're both, in the same places. So that shows that.
No, but I think if you look at it, the party that is more stabilized right now is the PDP. Yes, I agree. The APC has settled their own. They have said that they want their presidency to go to the south, and I must give them kudos for that. The only issue here is that they have given us 5 different dates for their convention, and we're hoping that the convention will take place on Saturday. But if you look at the southern candidates that have emerged in the PDP, we have Payozani, who is a former Senate president and a former secretary to government. We have someone like Kitalbi, who hasn't actually thrown his hat in the ring, but has said he will throw his hat into the ring. We also have the people even touting that Okowa should throw his hat into the ring, and Wike should also throw his hat into the ring. And if you look at it, out of those 4 people that I have mentioned, they are eminently qualified to be president of Nigeria, because there is nobody from the southwest showing interest in becoming the president of this country that is in PDP. It is only the north central that has Saraki, and you have Tamboa, like you have rightly said, and Atiku from the northeast. But what the man said in the studio would not be correct to say that if we're talking on zoning, then someone like Atiku is out of it. The northeast, the north central, and the southeast have not produced any president in this last dispensation. So normally you would have said that we should have looked at the northeast, the north central, and the southeast. What the southern governors are saying here is Buhari has done 8 years, and so we must come back to the south. And they are aligning with their brothers in the APC, who are the southern governors. There are 8 southern governors of the APC, and there are 8 southern governors of the PDP. We only have one, which is Abga. And so, out of the 16 of those governors, you cannot wish away what they would have said. They are a bloc. And the infighting between the governors of the APC in the north has made it impossible for them to even unite behind one candidate, so to say. Which is why you are seeing that we have been having the problems that we are having. They've been having the problems that are having in APC now. But if you also look at the APC, let the truth be told, like the man in the studio said, Bola Ahmed Tinubu is apparently the front runner. And one of the reasons they're trying to install a chairman is to find someone who can put a clog in the wheel of his ambition. And that is why you have seen that there's been an uphill task in the crisis in APC. But we have a difference here. We do not have somebody like Bola Ahmed Tinubu who comes like a colossus in the APC, in the PDP. We have those of different categories of people who who can hold on to their own CV, but are not as domineering as Bola Ahmed Tinubu is seen, having contributed as much he contributed into getting Buhari becoming the president of this country. Okay. And so I actually have said it before, not even on this forum, that I don't see how Bola Ahmed Tinubu will be stopped from becoming the candidate of the APC. Reason why my party, the PDP, should calculate more in looking for someone who will be able to match an amendment.
Okay, Ken, let me, Ada, good morning to you, and apologies for keeping you waiting. If you're still there, please go ahead now.
Yes, Ada from Jos Plateau. Lack of internal party democracy and politics without principles is the greatest problem plaguing our democracy. Now, having said that, this zoning of a president, if you ask me, it would be better for the National Assembly, as they are amending this constitution, let them ensure it is the constitution. If it is the constitution, nobody will come out when it is the turn of the south. Somebody from the north will come out when it is the turn of the south, and vice versa. I think that will keep it best, considering diversity. Then my appeal to politicians is that anybody who EFCC or whatever the listening after, whether it's in a dream or whether it's in true life, let them not even come out at all if they have morality. You know, we can't continue like this. Let them, put aside their political ambition and face the EFCC. God bless you. Let's not give up on this country.
All right then. Thank you very much. Opunabo, she just provided, an example that, look, you could fix the constitution, you could put this whole question into the constitution, then we won't be having, a plebiscite on it. It will be there, and so people won't come out when they know it's not their turn. What do you think of that particular line of reasoning? Opunabo in Abuela.
Yes, I didn't get you.
If you heard the last call in, Ada calling in from Jos, she says she was thinking that, look, maybe going forward, you could actually write it into the constitution.
Zoning should be part of the constitution.
That is to say, zoning as a concept and as a device, if it were part of the constitution, it might be better for all of us. Especially the
it all depends. It's like the college system in the U.S. If they have to enshrine it in the Constitution, it becomes a law. But it also has its negative impact, negative implication. I believe in zoning for now, so that the federating units, we are talking of the East, the North, the South, will all have a shot at the presidency. That is number one. Then number two, why probably she's suggesting that it be in the Constitution is because after now, if it is left open and planned on meritocracy, probably only the North will produce the presidency. Because even now that we are talking of placating other regions, you can see that the Northerners are still stubborn. They are still obdurate on the issue of their right. It is their right. That's the truth. They have a right to contest. And probably that's why she said, no, let us put it in the Constitution so that it will, to a very large extent, satisfy or still the fears of the minorities in the country. That is why probably that has been ideated, to still the fears of the minorities in the country. It has its positive and negative side, but I will advise in synopsis that we'll leave it the way it is. Okay. Let it not be a law, it should rather be a policy and not a law.
Okay. Ken, how say you on that particular issue? You think it could be written in? Because we were talking about meritocracy before you joined us. And shall we say, whereas meritocracy, if you look at it universally, I mean, that's what should be the case. They say China is a meritocracy, coming from this line of reasoning that they will always look for the best and put the best there wherever he happens to come from. But Ken, is it your thinking as well that we're not at that stage yet? We have to indeed...
No, I don't think we're at that stage, because some people say zoning promotes mediocrity. I mean, if you look at it, the Kano, for example, donates, I mean, they are very domineering in terms of their strength. They have 44 local governments. It is only Lagos that can match Kano in terms of strength, and Lagos does not even have the same local governments, apart from the LCDAs that they have actually had to create themselves. So if you look at the strength that is coming from the North, there is no way Jonathan would have become a president if he didn't become a vice president and Yar'Adua didn't die. That's why I describe his presidency as an accidental one. So if we do not practice what is more like zoning, because even in our constitution, we know we have what is called a quota system. And because our founding fathers knew that in their wisdom, we needed this quota system, it was decided that they were going to apply it, which is what zoning actually also looks like. And so it's something that we'll have to live with us for some time for us to be able to balance the equation and give each area a sense of belonging. But I think what we're even looking for now is a president that can get us out of the doldrums, because the APC report card is going to come to play whoever becomes their candidates, no matter what, at this point in time. The report card of President Buhari is going to be at the table. The economy is at its lowest ever at this point.
Okay, sorry about that. The line went wobbly a bit. Let me use that opportunity to bring in Mazi Okoro for calling in from Arochukwu. Good morning, Mazi.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, I guess, both Kaya and the studio. You see, zoning or no zoning is not the issue. How do we stop the agitation? That is what Nigerians should be talking about right now. Nigerians have issues. 1, religion in politics. 2, tribe in politics. 3, state in politics. All the candidates for now from the Eastern Nigeria zone, all with placards on their head. Now, what do we do? The way politics of shifting of goals is going on in Nigeria is not allowed. So, I was expecting Nigerians at this present situation now. Are we going to bring in somebody who will turn like Putin to destabilize all the states? When should tell you that when it's just balanced well in the politics, in the system as a head of state, we will now say it's going to send biological and chemical weapons. Is that what Nigerians are looking for? Nigerians should sit down and look into the system. What they have by the system? Look at people that already have integrity, people that have delivered, people that have worked in any place there, nothing like Igbo, nothing like Yoruba, nothing like Hausa in terms of their what cabinet. That is what Nigeria should be thinking of.
Okay, Mazi, I beg your pardon. We're going to have to leave it there because we're fast running out of time. In fact, we almost have just the time to, say goodbye. Now, let me come to you, Ken, because you spent the least time. Logistics, you didn't come in. Are you concerned at all for the, what shall we say, can we refer to it as turbulence? Ken Okolubo first, turbulence that's going on that will be resolved. You do have turbulent flights, but at the end of the day, you tend to land safely most of the time. Is that the way you look at this? Ken Okolubo first.
The only worrisome aspect is the truth about it is at the end of the day, we must have the elections. The timetable has been set for the elections. And the parties, the two leading parties, the APC and the PDP, I know one of them will produce the next president of Nigeria. That's the truth. We can't have any third force at this material point in time. Okay. No matter how turbulent you think it is, I think it will bet the waters will settle. Especially if you see if the convention of the APC is able to be held on Saturday and the national chairman is able to emerge, I think that will stabilize the APC to a large extent. The PDP already has all the national working committee in place and is moving on to have not only produced that timetable but are already selling nomination forms.
Okay, we're going to have to leave it there.
Primaries, which is coming up.
Okay, Ken, we're going to have to leave it there. I beg your pardon. Opunabo, last words from you. It seems turbulent at the moment, but are you also optimistic that all of this turbulence is going to end well?
Well, it is said that after thunder comes rain. So let us keep hope alive, because we are not going to pray or wish for the worst. Let us hope that the convention will take place smoothly and successfully for the APC. The PDP has done its own. And let us also hope that the issue of the presidential candidate will not further aggravate the crisis in the party. There will be a consensus on who the presidency should be zoned to and who eventually will emerge as a presidential candidate, so that we're going to have an election and ensure the exit of this government that has asphyxiated Nigerians in different ways.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you gentlemen. Ken Okolubo, political affairs analyst and PDP politician, and indeed aspirant in this upcoming election. Ken, you're heading for the, all other things being equal, you're heading for the House of Representatives, right?
Yes, no, House of Representatives. Okay. House of Representatives.
Okay. I wish you the best.
Indeed. Wish you the best, Ken. Thank you very much, Ken. Also. And also, Okpunabo, we don't even have time for you for the last words, but I think you've been very clear from the beginning that you are not a fan of consensus at all. We're going to have to leave it there. Smart Oluwale Akwejuye in studio here. So that's our program today. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I'm Yori Folani. Bye-bye for now.